Good morning and welcome to the February 22nd meeting of the Finance Committee. I call the meeting to order. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Next on the agenda is the minutes from the January 25th meeting. Need a motion to approve.
So move.
Thank you.
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 3-0. Next is the fiscal year 23 recruitment retention. Mrs. McLam.
Good morning. So I know when we originally, this month we are paying out the first retention payment to all staff members. If you'll recall, we approved that, I believe, maybe in November timeframe. So Dr. Houlihan and I told you that we would come back with another proposal for moving into the next school year. With as much going on and recruiting efforts going on right now and trying to retain the staff that we have, we wanted to go ahead and bring to you the proposal instead of waiting until later on, maybe into the next school year. So this proposal uses the dates have adjusted, of course. So right now, what we've got is if anyone who is employed as of September 2nd, which is the Friday of the first week of school, and remains actively employed through October 7th, would be eligible for these payments based on the criteria. October 7th is the end of the first grading period, the first 6 weeks. So we find that we have people maybe that come back and then they may just decide in that first little bit of time that, you know what, maybe I need to do something different. So we wanted to get through that first 6 weeks. So that's where we came up with those dates. And then it would be paid out. I put November 21st, but I need to double check if the pay date is the 21st or the 22nd. We always pay early, right? It'd be right before that Thanksgiving break. So that's when those payments would be scheduled for check dates for the November check. The one thing that we did change, we included the subs in the first round because of what we've been through in this school year with vacancies and the quarantining that we were experiencing at the beginning of the school year. We have taken them off the list just moving forward and have all of our full-time, part-time, and tutors currently listed. The number stayed approximately, we kept the same payouts, and the cost is a little less. It's 9.6 estimated. Once we complete the payouts this month, I'll be able to give you a more exact. The previous was around 12 million. We don't think it's going to cost quite as much as originally projected, and then this projection is 9.6 using ESSER dollars. Does anybody have any questions about it?
Okay. So with the first,
Donna, why did we take our subs off?
So the original plan when we added the subs was because of the gap that they filled during that time frame. Subs technically are not, they're contract staff. Technically, they're not considered employees of the district. So that was something that was just an unusual instance that we did. And so, for that specific reason.
sorry,
Go ahead, Madam Chair. I can come
no,
next.
go ahead. Reverend Benson, go ahead.
I get that, and the issue comes for us when these things happen, and then this group or that group isn't included, and then it's a whole lot of explaining or fighting or feeling left out, and folks is in an uproar. Can we or can you reiterate from statutory measures the sub situation and how maybe what we did before was an act of kindness, if you will, but that's not necessarily something that we as a district should be doing? Or is it something that, though it's not statutory, could we in fact do it budgetarily? So that way they will hear you and they will hear the totality of this, so they will clearly understand. So if somebody comes to us, we'll be able to reference this meeting and say, Ms. Lamb explained it. Here is how it is in whichever way. Can you just do that for me and maybe just for us? Because I want to make sure that those subs, those folks that are married to subs, the cousin of that sub, somebody that know the sub from the sub shop, will clearly understand what we're saying here.
Well, we really have to be careful with our subs. Like I said, they're not considered an employee, so they are not eligible for unemployment and other things. If we start treating them as they are employees, it opens up a huge liability to the district. So doing something as a one-time for the instance that we discussed about the quarantine issues and knowing that they were filling that gap for us, that was the other reason we tried to fill in and made some adjustments to the number of days that they worked. We can't do that on a full-time basis due to state and federal ACA Affordable Care Act guidelines won't allow us. If you treat them like full-time employees, then you are opening up benefits and other things. So really, the fact that the reason that we did the last, on that last one was really due to the volume of absences we had because of quarantining. And we wanted to show that appreciation at that time for them filling in that gap. So, again, when it comes to the legalities of it, that's probably something Michelle may have to discuss more in detail, and we'll have to get together and maybe put something together. But if we start treating them like employees, it opens up a lot of liability to the district.
Donna, have we looked at putting a cap on? I know some districts have put a cap on these initiatives. The one I heard, I think CMS was like 75,000. And under would get the incentive, above would not.
A salary, like based on your salary, you receive a certain dollar amount.
Right, or would not receive the incentive.
I mean,
because when you say all employees, you're referring to everyone in the district. Every
right,
full-time and
everyone
part-time
that's
employee.
listed, yes, everyone that's listed in these categories would be eligible, yes. So if, we just went through and paid state bonuses and the state used 75,000 as an eligibility criteria. If you made less than 75, you were eligible for 1,500. If you made more than 75, you were only eligible for 1,000. So if you all would like to do something similar to that, I'll be glad to rework this. This is another reason why bringing this earlier for us to discuss if there's any changes that you all would like to see. Is that something you all want me to go back and work on?
I like it the way it is, but it's.
I would like to see the cost difference.
Now, by doing it that way, Shauna, by doing it that way, would that in itself open us up to looking at say subs as full-time and employees, which is not what they are? Is that a concern of yours? What would be a concern of yours if we follow through on what Todd mentioned about liking to see the costs or going down that road? What would be some concerns to you?
Well, really, when you're talking about what he's asking about is more about the full-time or part-time, like more about full-time employees and what their total salary is. So that wouldn't be inclusive of that subcategory. So, I can let you know what the difference in the cost based on full-time salaries and any increases that might be potentially coming from the state in this coming year that might some people might be on that break point. We added $1,000 to their supplements and other things in the district. So I'll have to look at it and see.
So Todd, Mr. Price, just to make sure I understand it, you would want it based upon salaries? The bonuses?
I would like to see the difference. I think it's worth looking at.
So maybe
that's what you're
do
talking
1,000
about.
Are you wanting to tier it similar to what the state did? Maybe do 2,000 if you make less than 75,000 and 1,500 if you make more than 75, or
Either that or just not having you eligible over a certain dollar amount. If you make 75 and over, you're not eligible for the retention bonus.
I mean, I couldn't run those numbers.
So you're suggesting that there would be some employees that wouldn't get a retention bonus. So I guess I view this a little bit differently because it's retention. We're asking people to come back and we're giving them a bonus to come back and work for us. Am I thinking of Dr.
I guess I'm thinking more towards out of classroom type positions than in classroom.
Okay.
I think from my perspective, we're going to be facing a competitive market across multiple states, regions, et cetera. And I think the intent of this is to show all of our current employees who decide to come back and to be with us that this is a retention strategy, because we don't want anyone that's doing a great job for us to leave for additional compensation they may get somewhere else. So honestly, I kind of prefer the all employees do get something, just so that we can make sure that we retain as many individuals as we can, because all school systems around us are going to be doing something very similar, if not more.
Yeah, I like that.
And a lot of them have put out what they're doing, CMS and others, and we're competitive with what we're doing.
We can look at a different model and run a different model based on your salary amount and table this item and come back to the committee in March if that's what the committee wants us to do. But I would still advocate for everyone who's a current employee who decides to come back get some kind of a retention effort.
Absolutely.
So I would like to put something on the agenda for the March meeting. So maybe we can get together again to look at the data that you're asking for, Mr. Price, and then we can go from there, because I think that some of the other surrounding districts have already put out there. And I think that's the idea, is that we need to get this out so that everybody understands that we're going to do something for retention bonuses come the next school year.
That's
so
fine with
I'm
me.
okay if we get the information that you're asking for, but I think we need to meet again then before the March meeting.
That's fine with me. Ms. McLam, do you think you'll have a different model run in the next few days that we can get to the committee and meet again?
Sure. With the work we did on the state salary payments, I think we probably have a lot of that data readily available to run some estimates and projections.
That would be great. And then we could probably just do a quick meeting right before the board meeting. Would that be okay with you guys? Yeah. Todd, Jimmy, you're good? Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else on the retention payment?
Yeah, that's good with me.
Okay, good, thank you. The next item, so we're tabling that for our next meeting. Okay. Next is the recruiting platform source purchase.
Yes, so Dr. Harris and his team have been putting together a recruitment plan, and one of the products that they found that is unique is a platform called Handshake. Handshake is intended to be used to target college campuses and to look for those graduating in the specific areas that you're looking to hire. So right now, there is no one else that does handshake, and they submitted to DPI to get it approved because we're using federal dollars. So we're looking for you all to approve the handshake sole source. They've also listed the LinkedIn is another platform that we're going to do as a district to try to recruit other categories of employees. So they're using several different models and several different platforms to try to reach as many people as we can to help our recruiting efforts.
Okay, so for the first year, it's funded through the EPIC grant, so that's going to go away. So we'll have to put that in our budget for next year.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll be working on the HR budget and what recruitment dollars that they have that we can maybe either redirect or, once the time comes, or we would add this to the request.
Okay.
But that'll be next year.
I need a motion to send this to the full board.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Next is for information, the summer programming.
Yeah, so again, we know we're going to have summer programs this school year or this summer, and we want to get ahead of and start being able to advertise and recruit individuals to work in our summer programs. So tomorrow in the curriculum committee, Dr. Breedlove will be giving a high-level overview of all of the different programs that will be going on across the district. And this is some of the compensation that we've come up with for paying each category. This summer is going to be a lot different from last summer. There's a lot of independent programs going on. You might have one in June, there might be some in July. You may have some that cross over like CTE. EC is going to be doing some programming. So there's going to be a lot, just like always, high schools will be running credit recovery. So there's a lot of different things going on across the district. And we wanted to at least present some of the plans, some of the proposed dollar amounts that we were thinking might be compensation for those staff members that work, and then some of the different funding sources that we are currently receiving to help support these programs. So what we will be doing is, if you all don't have any concerns about this plan that we put together here, it will go with what Dr. Breedlove is presenting tomorrow for action in curriculum to go into the consent agenda for full board approval at the next meeting.
Yeah. The only thing I have to say about the summer program is there needs to be one sheet of paper with compensation on it, and one sheet only. And this will be sent near and far. So every single person that desires to work for the summer program would know exactly what the compensation is. And that would please me greatly.
And
Yeah,
when they
so-
would receive it.
Right. Well, and so a lot of this is going to be dependent on what program you're working in and what times you're working. So a lot of what we do always, anytime worked in June is paid in June. So we will work diligently for any programs that are in June that'll be paid in June. Same with July. So it just depends on when the end dates are for some of these. And so we work hard with the academics team and any of the site administrators to try to project those hours and make sure we don't overpay anyone, and that we work to pay everyone, in a timely manner. So this year we do have a second page to this and have designated using the bonuses that we have paid. We've now kind of established the criteria and the categories in which each individual, falls under. So we've tried to use that to help simplify, and so everyone knows and understands. But again, doing this early is intended so that when we post the jobs, they know what the pay is for each job, and that we know what we're posting, and and individuals that are applying for those jobs understand from the beginning, to avoid any confusion this year.
Thank you.
When-
This is,
Yes, when they,
this is,
go ahead, Madam Chair.
I was gonna say, this is more detailed from last year, so I appreciate that. And I appreciate that you're gonna pay in the same month if it does, unless it rolls over into another month.
Right.
But I
Yeah,
appreciate
last year
that.
there was a lot going on. There was a
lot going on, and I
It was a
think
lot
that,
going on. So
Yeah.
this should, again, there's a lot of programming going on, but we
Right.
should have, it won't be as quite the magnitude as there was last year.
right,
And when each individual employee signs up for whatever perspective that they desire to serve in, let there be a form that they sign that indicates that as well. So we know that we have a agreed upon agreement, because again, you all do a fantastic job of putting things together. We just want to make sure that everybody is the beneficiaries of the fantastic job y'all do.
Yes, HR, I've been talking with Dr. Harris, and we, again, now that we've pushed this timeline back far enough that we have enough time to work through a lot of these things, they will be working on contracts, and we will have those to make sure are issued before things begin and signed off on, so everyone, again, should have a good understanding.
Thank
great.
you so much. I'm in a bad area, so hopefully I won't.
Okay. Next up is the after-school program update.
So I just wanted to come to you all just to give an update. I've been working with the after-school program, as you know. We have brought that program down to less than half of the sites that we had before the pandemic. That's created a lot of issues. They're having some staffing issues as well, just like the other areas, trying to find enough staff to meet the requirements for their 5-star rating. You can't just put anyone in there, there's training and all that goes with that. So I just wanted to let you all know that we're kind of looking at the program. We will probably be proposing some increases to the rates, just because, again, trying to make sure there's a break even. This program is intended to be self-sustaining. So what fees, whatever we charge on a weekly basis should cover our expenditures. The increases in the hourly rates that the state designated, we went to $13 an hour for their staff. Next year, we'll go to $15 an hour. So we really have to look at what the rate needs to be. That I know they're having to increase summer camp rates. So it's just a matter of wanting to let you all know that there's going to be some challenges. We put in quite a significant amount of money into that program last year because of COVID to be able to start it back up. And that's not a sustainable plan for that program. So we're working to come up with what's next for them, what can we do, what do the rates need to be, and we're going to come back to you all with a more detailed of what that's going to look like moving forward.
How much money have we infused into the after-school program?
Last year it was about $700,000 that we caught up with lost revenue. They are included in a lot of what we're doing on all of these. I'm not charging those any eligible retention payments or any eligible bonuses that have been put out from the state. Those are being paid from those programs because they're eligible. They're not being paid from this program. So, there's a lot that hasn't been charged to them because we've had the ability not to.
Appreciate that. Okay.
So again,
Any other
I'll be coming to you all with something
in the future. Thank you. COVID relief funding update. Everybody got your link and your documents.
Yeah, there weren't any new programs this month or any additional funding. There are a couple of applications out there right now that we've got some planning allotments for that we're working through. Some of them we may be able to use and some of them we may not. One of them in particular is Gaggle. We don't use Gaggle. So I have a call with DPI at 9 today. And so the districts have some questions about some of the funding allocations. So I'll come back to you all with some updates from that.
Thank you. So that's everything on the agenda. So our next meeting is going to be March 1, just before the Board of Education meeting to discuss the retention recruitment bonuses for next school year. So once we've determined when closed session starts, I'll let you guys know what time we're going to go with the Finance Committee meeting. Okay. Need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Thank you. Have a great day.